Hey guys, welcome back to Ranger Survival and Fieldcraft. I'm Andrew, and what I have for you today are the top 5 improvisational military fire starters. Stand by. Alright, so for that first improvisational fire starting technique, this is one of my favorites. It's called the wire fire thong, and it's a take on the traditional fire thong using soft wood and vines or rattan vines to create an ember and blow that into flame using a tinder bundle. Only this time we're going to use materials that soldiers or downed air crew would actually have available in an aircraft, such as gunpowder and steel wire. The basic principles of our military wire fire thong are the same as a traditional or primitive set, only we're going to create the ember first in the form of our gunpowder, and then we're actually going to create the heat after that and apply the heat to our ember, as opposed to using a primitive set, sawing into the material, creating an ember, and then building up that heat. We're going to introduce heat very quickly because most gunpowders are going to burn or ignite at approximately 300 degrees Fahrenheit. So if we can get that wire up to temperature, all we have to do is touch that hot wire to the gunpowder and it should ignite. We're going to need 1 or 2 rounds from our primary weapon system and the gunpowder inside those cartridges. We could use a rock to extract that projectile, but a multi-tool with pliers works just as well. Once we have that gunpowder, we want to dump it on some sort of catch. In this case, a flat piece of wood is going to work great, the same piece from our bow drill set. We're going to place our tinder in front of our gunpowder because the wind is coming at our face. That tinder will help block the wind so we don't lose our powder all over the ground. But we want that tinder close enough to our gunpowder so when it ignites, the flame from the gunpowder will catch fire onto our tinder. We can transfer that tinder to our fire lay to start our fire. All we're going to do is saw, create enough heat, and then touch that hot wire to the gunpowder, and boom, it's on. This next improvisational fire starter is a great one to know because we can actually use our bow drill set as an improvised mortar and pestle to start fire with our next method. We're going to get this one prepped by burning in. We're not going to carve the notch, we're just going to burn in to give ourselves that mortar and pestle setup using our spindle and our fireboard. So this is a take on a traditional method of starting fire using chemical resources. In this case, we're going to have potassium permanganate and then glycerol or vegetable sugar. And we're going to use these 2 components to start a fire with a chemical reaction. We're going to use our catch again, always a helpful device, just some sort of flat piece of wood. We're going to put down our potassium permanganate crystals and then that vegetable glycerol over top, and it should cause an exothermic reaction, giving us fire. But now here's the trick. What if we don't have vegetable glycerol or some sort of liquid sugar to mix with our dry potassium permanganate crystals and cause an exothermic reaction? No problem. We can actually take the sugar from our MRE and combine them with the pot perm crystals and then just apply a little bit of friction using our bow drill set as an improvised mortar and pestle to get that exothermic reaction and start a fire. We combine the crystals together on the hearth board and then we just crush them with our spindle, causing friction, igniting the materials, causing that exothermic reaction, and then simply apply tinder over top and we can start our fire that way. Here's another improvisational technique that we're going to take a step further, and we just need to understand basic components or concepts of starting a fire using electricity or batteries from that L-shaped or angle-headed flashlight. This is an old school technique where we hide steel wool and the lead wires in the bottom compartment of our flashlight, and then if we need a fire only in emergencies, we can actually take out those components, combine them with our flashlight, and use the electricity from our batteries to ignite our steel wool, giving us fire. The first thing we're going to need to do is actually remove the light bulb from our angle-headed flashlight. We want incandescent bulbs, one with the actual filament inside the bulb. This next part is a little tricky and we need to be careful. After we remove the bulb from the light housing of our flashlight, we want to get some sort of hard surface like a rock, or in this case we're going to use our spax or our breaching tool. It's flat and it's metal, and we're also going to use our survival knife. What we're going to do is gently start tapping on the glass of the bulb until it breaks. Once it breaks, we want to stop and inspect the bulb to make sure that the filament is still intact because we're going to use it to start our fire. Alright, so that bulb and the filament inside is still intact. we've broken the glass and we've reassembled that flashlight to make it safe and placed the outside cover or that red lens cover over top to protect the filament. Now we want to prepare all of our fire materials. We've got our tinder bundle ready to go, and this method works really, really well if we have pre-made tinder or tinder that's going to take a very fine spark, like from a flint and steel kit. So we're going to use char cloth or char material for our fire. We just shove that inside the light housing, and then we just turn on the flashlight. The incandescent bulb will burn that filament, burning our char cloth, and then we can use it to blow our tinder bundle into flame, giving ourselves fire. And of course, if you didn't know, these military angle-headed flashlights actually come with a spare bulb inside the battery housing at the bottom of the cap, underneath the spring. So we have a spare bulb that we can use to see in the dark still after we use our first to start a fire. One little trick I've picked up, besides staying pretty in the field, is bringing a makeup mirror or a beauty mirror with me into the field for my hygiene kit. Reason being, besides being able to see my beautiful face in the morning as I scrape it with a cold razor, that convex mirror can be used as a form of solar ignition, reflecting the sun's rays to start fire. This concept is similar to a Fresnel lens or a Fresnel lens, except completely different, because now we're going to reflect the sun's rays as opposed to allowing the sun's rays to pass through a lens. We reflect those rays up into our tinder bundle, focus it into a beam hot enough to ignite the tinder in our tinder bundle, and then once it's smoking by itself, all we have to do is apply oxygen, blow it into flame, and we have our fire. For our last improvisational method, this is something that's often overlooked with a lot of military tools, especially the spax or hatchet and the machete. A lot of these tools are made from high carbon steel because it's durable and long lasting, which means we can use it as a flint and steel kit. In order for this method to work, we will need to create char material. It's too easy to create that with an enclosed container, airtight container, and then a piece of 100% cotton material, like from our cravat or from our shamag. But we can create that char and then actually use it with our military tools as a flint and steel kit with a hard rock to drive sparks off of those tools onto that char material, apply it to a tinder bundle, and then blow it into flame, and we have fire yet again. Alright guys, another down and dirty video today. As you can tell, it is very windy and it is hot outside with a very high heat index, so what better task to complete than fire starting out in the heat in high wind in prairie country. But we did it safely and we demonstrated 5 of the best improvisational techniques. So I really hope you liked this video. If you did like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment in the comment section. I always appreciate your feedback. I want to thank you guys for everything you do for me, for this channel, for your likes, your views, your subscriptions, your comments, your feedback, and your shares. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.